Land insecurity is high on the list of Uganda's unsolved development issues. Although 78% of the country's 48 million people depend on it for farming, much of it is unsecured. Only 20% of the land in the country is registered. Much of the unregistered land is customarily owned by smallholder farmers with hardly any means to afford registration that often runs into millions. This bulk of unsecured land often predisposes people such as widows, women, the disabled, the youth and the elderly to land grabbers. The rapid population growth of additional 1 million people per year is seeing many destroy fragile ecosystems like wetlands to grow food. A case in point is Butaleja district in eastern Uganda's Choga Basin. It is the above problems that Uganda Community Based Association for Women and Children's Welfare, UCOBAC, and Global Land Tool Network GLTN, as facilitated by UNHABITAT, with support from the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, has been trying to address since 2021.
We hope to issue more CCOs in this phase, in the 3 sub-counties where the project is working. We also hope that farmers working in the wetland will be supported to develop a wetland management plan together with the local government and Ministry of Water and Environment and NEMA. And we also hope that the farmers will be supported to get wetland resource use permits.
Our work is basically very intentional in terms of positioning women and girls and young people at the center of the land registration processes and also the land use planning processes in the community. This is important because we have a history. We are in an environment that is a patriarchal society. And in this patriarchal society, we see that we have cultural norms and practices that discriminate against women and girls and also young people.
In 2021, the project Scaling Up Community-Based Land Registration and Land Use Planning on Customary Land kicked off operations in Butaleja's Naweyo, Mazimasa and Kachonga sub-counties in eastern Uganda, with a strategy to strengthen land administration structures and actors in the application of fit-for-purpose land administration tools such as social tenure domain model (STDM) and alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. The rationale was that once people's land is secured, the results would be food security, agricultural productivity, as well as environmental conservation. Over the decades, George Waiswa and his wife Yinia Baluka have cultivated on this land. They are renowned maize farmers here in Mukwano, Kachonga sub-county, Butaleja. When they heard about the land registration project and the prospects from the community training, they embraced it. Today, the area land committee is at their home to take their details. First, the committee has to ascertain that they are Ugandans. National IDs are at hand. Both their full names and those of their children are duly recorded and pictures taken. All this is done in the full view of the neighbors and local leaders. The committee members register their names as well as those of the witnesses. When all these steps are done, the committee, together with the project officials, survey the land, where all the boundaries are recorded in the global positioning system to later generate a map whose details are later saved in the database. Neighbors are at hand to agree on the exact points of the boundaries.
Ni uhena nga muloma nti nendaho oheje haba neiba babo baje babengo ni hupimero balino esho hubiri na muloma nti ona bantu ohejire aba neiba balingo ndi hwenda ondetere LC1 yes gaje abengo oluvanyuma lweshana banaletira abantu abo nga ninyoha nga tandi okugenda mwiro balirye nga hutandiha ohulipima.
It is these details that will be referred to in order to process the couple's certificate of customary ownership of their land. Both Waiswa and his wife are happy. They were assured that the certificate of customary ownership will forever secure their rights on this land. They also want to use the certificate to secure funding to scale up their maize growing.
Maite kusantati anunge bamalire kulipima. Ndi mugumu eule yinzo okola niki okwata kwitaka lyange oba kulumba omukale oba abaana bange yuso unafunire
nanguliye esanyu olw'okuba nti kesama bapandikire muhinani muhunani pandikise isuku syange kuba nulumba ningo mwami wange ng'oyengo tulire esanyu nemirembe osinzira hunani imba nibapaye.
Women have also been registered as owners, and the number has increased from nearly 0 or 2% to now between 38 and 40% as owners and not as witnesses has been in the past.
In the nearby village of Namatala in Namawakachonga sub-county is Hajira Nashema. Hajira wakes up very early in the morning to dig and fend for her 8 children. Ever since she lost her husband 3 years ago, farming has been her only source of food and income. This land, left behind by her husband, is all the family has to live off. She gladly welcomed the Area Land Committee to map her land. Hajira says without this project, her land could have easily been grabbed.
Naba mugumuti nolundi banipoyengo abana bange sibajja hufuna mawuziwu tibajja uhayana n'omuntu era n'omwijukulu yesalisangane hina ero balino n'enguma lihola hina alinyaga era ne bahisa dala ehibina heyokobadde ohujja muno ohubati hituyambafwe enyongefa bana mwandu kubaye hutulumugisi wanyo ohubati abantu bendo hunyaga ebitu byefwe.
We want to see that there's joint ownership, that boys and girls are given equal opportunity to be co-owners of this land. We want to see that families ensure that girls and young people are provided opportunities like inheritance of this land and property.
Still in Namatala, the 20-year-old Kasani Mwima gladly registered his parcel of land when the Area Land Committee came knocking. He inherited the land from his late father. The project looked out for youth like Kasani to register their land, as many often fall victims to land grabbers.
Sanyuhire nyo batu hujo hukimesi guyange hija hupogu mumu nieyo ohuboti hija hunjagaza ohuboti ndi bani bisomire utahayana na banaiba bange
mubireje muno abantu basanyukiye nnyo okupimeroba era nga eshagira basanyuka naddala bahasi basanyukiye nnyo okupimeroba.
After all the data is collected and attached, the file is sent to the Sub-County Physical Planning Committee, then to the District Technical Team for further processing, before forwarding to the District Land Board, where all final approvals are done. At the Land Board, due diligence is done to ensure authenticity.
Inspection report was looked into, the public notice. The forms were they duly signed and endorsed by the Area Land Committees? Were the neighbors all there? Were the LCs present? Were there photos, the national IDs of the different applications? Were the women represented? Were the children there? Were the men there? All the nitty-gritties at that level of scrutiny were taken care of at the District Land Office. Were the maps attached during the capturing of the data and the mapping? Were they captured on that exact file? Because you may find that the information picked by the GPS or the acreage, does it suit the file of where it was attached? So all that quality assurance was looked into before the files were put before the board.
We've managed even to clear out issues of boundary disputes, because you'd find that a neighbor entered into the friend's or the neighbor's land by around 2 feet. So during the mapping process, we used to handle that process and we used to handle those disputes, and it has actually helped us to reduce on the disputes we now receive in the district.
Today, the district has a digital database that contains all the land information collected by the project. It is this data that will inform the physical development plan. In total, 1,624 parcels of land were mapped and approved by the District Land Board. The project also sought to save wetlands in the district. In the Choga Basin, specifically Butaleja, 40% of the district's 2,552 square miles is composed of wetlands. It is in these wetlands that a large section of the district's 331,000 people are using for rice farming, a practice that is being discouraged due to its effects on the ecosystem.
There is the poor yields, especially on the upland. So they go to the wetlands to really have some food and of course for that rice as a cash crop. So of course amidst the older population, almost all running to these wetlands, we get a number of issues because there is the degradation, because they open up these areas and when the waters come, like already said from the highlands, it doesn't have where to stay. So flooding becomes an issue.
Government of Uganda is also, especially recently, advocating for sustainable use of natural resources, such as wetlands. And so this project is also helping the government to be able to implement an approach that balances between community needs and ecological functions of the different natural resources.
It was therefore imperative to rally locals through training and lessons regarding dangers of clearing swamps to grow rice. Besides the training, the farmers were also exposed to practical demonstrations in the wetlands. They were shown dangers of blocking water and encouraged to adopt smart use of the wetlands while observing a buffer zone of 200 meters as well as practice mixed agriculture. The training led to a wetland management plan and a wetland management committee to ensure the guidelines are followed.
Another importance and benefit of this project is that we now have demarcated the lands from the wetlands, and with it has come the issue of wetland management in terms of planning, restoring them, and also ensuring that we conserve them for future purposes.
They have accepted they are going to zone off areas of conservation, and then they are going to have some areas that they are going to use, which is actually being encouraged worldwide. That's what we call wise use. You use, but you use sparingly. You don't use and put everything to waste, because we still need this wetland.
Omusomo guno njegere okulima okutatuuka ku maizi okutonoona obutonde waisu niyo mulimo okukola ogubazire okutwegesya.
What I learned most that once we use it sustainably, we shall get a lot of things like the fish, which we are not getting because the water will be stagnant. Our animals will be able to graze in, and our animals will even have enough water. We can even use that water, which is in the same, which is stagnant. We can even use it for, we can either use irrigation to grow around the what? That wetland vegetables.
It's quite a blessing to us as a district to have this project on board. Currently, issues of land conflicts in the project areas have been reduced compared to the previous years.
UCOBAC believes that all these efforts will promote smart climate change agriculture, sustainable land use in wetlands, improved capacity of land structures, actors and users, as well as tenure security for women, men and youth.
the